Hey, Scott, I don't know if you know this scoop, but the hockey show on Sportsnet Audio, Mike Fuda and Matt Marchese. Matt is from Beaton, Ontario, a little Shangri-La that's west of Newmarket and east of Orangeville and south of Barrie. I don't have to explain that to your guests tonight. Out to you, man. Have a good one.
Thanks for the scoop, Ron. Much appreciated. We welcome the Canucks president of hockey operations. The last time Jim Rutherford was on the show was in the midst of a tough start, I think just over 2 years ago, and you'd lost badly to the Buffalo Sabres that night. So I guess welcome to your final appearance on After Hours. We're not going to dwell on tonight's game, except to say that it does raise the question about your team's record at home and lack of consistency, right?
So, Jim, last year, almost 71% of the points that were available, you won at home. This year, it's half a step forward, a step back. Like, how does that happen for you guys?
Well, we beat ourselves at home sometimes. I'd say probably 2 or 3 games this year. We don't play with the same urgency at home. On the road, we seem to be more comfortable. You know, like most teams like to put on a little more of a show at home, and I think we try to do that sometimes. We're coming off, we're in the middle of playing a lot of games, but all teams do that, and so we get a lot of days off. We didn't practice yesterday. We've had a couple of other home games where we didn't practice, and we didn't play well. So we have some adjustments to make, obviously, but they're fixable, but we better fix them quick because you can't be a playoff team with a record like we have at home.
I was just going to ask you, so you say we'll fix them, but you know, what's the balance between patience and fix?
Well, the patience, it's two different things. The patience for the front office is one thing, and the patience for the coaches is another thing. So, you know, that's really up to Talk. He does a terrific job. He's been dealt a different hand this year than he was last year. He's had a lot more things to deal with, and I believe he's done a really good job, and he'll figure this out. From the front office point of view, we're around the 30-game mark, and we have to start to make decisions. We talk every day about how we make the team better and what changes we might have to make, and we're at that period now.
Tonight's loss aside, for as tough as it was, if we look at the big picture, Jim, your team has established itself as a contender. If we go back to where you were 2 years ago when we had you on this program, I think your quote that night was, "I'm the same as fans and everybody else. It's getting frustrating. It's hard to watch." So the backdrop for this interview is different. Have the Canucks established themselves as contenders happened even faster than you thought it would?
Well, we took a big step last year. There's no doubt about that, and probably a bigger step than we all thought we could take in 1 year. And now the key to that is maintaining what we gained last year. Mm-hmm. And we lost some players, good players, and we've added some good players. So, but like I said a little bit earlier, you know, we've dealt with a number of issues here. All teams have to do it, but we just got to get everybody in place and get settled down, and we're certainly a good enough team to be a playoff team, and then see where we go from there.
To come within a couple of goals of getting to the conference final says something about establishing yourself as a contender. You have spoken in the past about a 3-year window of opportunity to win here. Quinn Hughes' deal is up in 3 years, Demko before that. And so Jordan asks, with the team's window opening, do you not think it's time to open the cupboards a bit and bring in some high-level talent to bolster the current roster? Quinn Hughes is a once-in-a-lifetime player, and we need to utilize every season we have with him.
Well, I think that's a fair point that person's making, but it's not like you can go to Costco and just pick up 1 or 2 of these players that you think can help you. You know, we're living in a cap world. It's hard to make deals. But yes, the point that this person's making, we need to add a couple of players to really give ourselves a chance to contend.
Speaking of expiring deals, Brock Boeser is on one. If you can't get the 40-goal scorer signed to an extension by the trade deadline, what then?
Well, we'll deal with that when the time comes. You know, right now we're evaluating his situation. You know, the key is going to be what that contract looks like, what the term looks like, all those things. I mean, it's like all contracts. The player's going to have a different opinion of what the team has, and we'll continue to watch this really close.
Rick Tocchet, Ray.
When you came in and you made the coaching change, so often we hear, where's the new blood? Where's the new guy come from? But really, you have to have a comfort with how a coach will deal with the good, the bad, the development.
Yeah.
So you knew Rick and have known him a long time. What made him the right guy? And with the hand he's got this year, the injuries, Dakota Joshua and his situation, now you've got Hronek and Miller's out and in. How does he deal with that? How do you have confidence knowing that this is down the road somewhere? There's always going to be tough times.
Well, we worked together in Pittsburgh, so I knew him really well. He handled some of the tougher situations in Pittsburgh. He handled those for Mike Sullivan. And we knew how he coached as a head coach because we watched him when he was in Arizona. So very familiar, good communication, and he communicates really well with the players. When players are struggling or there's issues, he's a guy that can sort that out.
Jim, you have seen how the game has evolved. Hockey has no choice but to keep pace with the rest of the world. So a question about JT Miller. This is not to pry, but he needed time, and you gave it to him. I just wonder if 15 years ago, maybe as recently as 10 years ago, if one of your best players came to you as a general manager and said, I need time for a reset, what might your reaction have been? Always when a player's asking for that, you have to give them that time. And, I mean, we work at this business to win every game and do the best we can. But we also have to realize these are people. Everybody has issues to deal with at certain times. And when a player reaches out for some help, that's when you say, you need some time off, go for it. Did it ever happen to you in your career as a general manager before this?
It's been a long career, so I can't remember all the situations. But I do believe that that it has happened before. But when you talk about 15 years ago, we would have never dealt with that person the same way. We didn't have all the tools that we have now to help people. But I do believe that I've given players some time away. Maybe not a month, but maybe a week or just even a few days. And it happens all the time. It happens a lot more than people think.
A follow-up. Was JT Miller's request for a leave personal from him, or was it a team initiative?
He requested the time, and it was for personal reasons.
And that answers the question about the scurrilous rumors that are out there these days, I guess.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I get it. The world we live in and the sports world we live in, there's going to be all kinds of rumors and people make up trade rumors and all these things. But when a player's in a situation where he's taken a leave for personal reasons, it's very disrespectful for people without any information to go off of to start some of these rumors. It's really unfortunate.
When you sign a player like Jake DeBrusk to a lucrative deal with term, you expect him to produce, and he has been for you. And then there are economy contracts, I guess we could call them. So I want to ask you about one of them, and that's Kevin Lankinen. You picked him out of the free agent bin in training camp. He shut out the Stanley Cup champions here on Thursday night. He's won 14 of 21 games for you. How can you not be surprised?
Well, we're not surprised that he's played well. I guess it's easy to say that we are surprised that he has the record he has and set the record on the road for most wins in a row and all those things. But we had a goalie situation that was tough that we were watching with Demko's injury. We were well aware that Lankinen had overplayed his hand when he was trying to get his bigger contract. And our goalie coach had coached him before, and we told him, you talk to him every day so we know exactly what he's doing. We were kind of playing a little bit of poker there. Of course, he's trying to get a bigger contract. We don't have much cap space. But we were keeping an eye on that situation for about a month, and then it got to the point it got close to camp, and he decided to come here. Thank goodness.
Kiefer Sherwood, Ray.
I don't know that I had 176 hits in my career, and he's got them in 2.5 months. The energy he plays with, when you got a good look at him in the playoffs, and he comes in, he's been everything you ask for, I guess, eh?
He really has. I mean, we were looking for that type of player. You know, it was Lafferty was a guy that brought a little bit of that last year. Kiefer certainly brings more than Lafferty did, but he can play up and down the lineup. He's such a good team guy, and he drives the game some nights, and that's what you need.
Last question comes from Jess, and she asks, getting back to goaltending, is it possible, because Demko's up in a couple of years, Lankinen's going to need a raise, is it possible to keep both Demko and Lankinen together?
Yes.
That's it? Would you care to expand?
Well,
it's
can.
live TV.
I can. We know what Demko's going to make next year.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know what Lankinen's going to want. But, man, you need goaltending to win. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe in this case we'd look at a little bit more, putting a little more money in on the goaltending side of it maybe than we would somewhere else.
Perfect. That's where we'll end it, Jim. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Greatly appreciate you joining us tonight on a tough night.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Jim Rutherford, the Canucks president of hockey operations, also an honored member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, was our guest.